The rain was coming down in sheets as I drove home from the office, the kind of downpour that mirrored the storm brewing inside me. I'm Finley, 43, an architect in Seattle, and until recently I thought I had it all. A successful career, a beautiful home overlooking Puget Sound, and a loving wife, Corinne. We'd been married for 15 years, a milestone I thought we'd celebrated with genuine affection just last month. But the truth, as I was about to discover, was a far cry from the idyllic picture I had painted in my mind. It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. Corinne, a freelance graphic designer, had been spending more time at her co-working space downtown. Late nights became more frequent, and her explanations grew increasingly vague. Just a big project, she'd say, or meeting a new client. I trusted her implicitly, or so I thought. Trust, I would soon learn, is a fragile thing, easily shattered by deception. The first crack in the facade appeared when I found a receipt in her purse for an expensive restaurant I knew we hadn't visited. "Oh, that," she said, a little too quickly. "That was a lunch with a potential client. I forgot to tell you about it." I let it go, but a seed of doubt had been planted. Then came the text messages. I accidentally saw one pop up on her phone while she was in the shower. It was from someone named Julian, and it read, "Can't wait to see you tonight, thinking of you." My heart lurched. Julian? Who the hell was Julian? I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was a harmless flirtation, a work colleague, a misunderstanding. But the knot in my stomach tightened with each passing moment. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. That night I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying the text message in my mind. Finally, around 3 a.m., I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. The password was easy enough to guess: our anniversary. I felt a pang of guilt as I unlocked it, but the need to know the truth outweighed my reservations. What I found confirmed my worst fears. The messages between Corinne and Julian were explicit, intimate, and heartbreaking. They had been having an affair for months. Reading their words felt like a physical blow, each sentence a punch to the gut. They talked about their secret rendezvous, their passionate encounters, and their feelings for each other. It was all there in black and white, a betrayal so profound it left me reeling. I stumbled out of the bedroom, gasping for air. The world seemed to tilt on its axis, and I felt like I was falling into a bottomless abyss. How could she do this to me? How could she lie to me, day after day, and pretend that everything was fine? When Corinne woke up, she found me sitting on the couch, her phone in my lap, my face buried in my hands. She knew instantly that I knew. "Finley," she began, but I cut her off. "Who is Julian?" I asked, my voice trembling with rage and pain. She hesitated for a moment, then the truth came pouring out. Julian was a landscape architect she had met at her co-working space. They had bonded over their shared passion for design, and their friendship had quickly turned into something more. "I'm so sorry," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I never meant for this to happen. I still love you, Finley." Her words were like a slap in the face. How could she say she loved me while betraying me in such a cruel and calculated way? "Love me," I repeated, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "If this is love, I don't want any part of it." The following weeks were a blur of anger, sadness, and confusion. I moved into the guest room and we barely spoke. The house, once a sanctuary of love and happiness, now felt like a battleground. I couldn't understand what had gone wrong. We had always been so close, so supportive of each other's dreams. Had I been blind to the signs? Had I become complacent, taking her for granted? I confided in my best friend Jasper, a mechanic who had always been a voice of reason in my life. "You deserve better, Finley," he said. "Don't let her gaslight you into thinking this is your fault. She made a choice and she has to live with the consequences." Jasper's words gave me strength, but the pain was still unbearable. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't stop thinking about Corinne and Julian together. The images haunted me, replaying in my mind like a broken record. I decided to hire a private investigator to find out more about Julian. I needed to know who this man was, the man who had stolen my wife's affections. What I discovered was even more shocking than I could have imagined. Julian wasn't just a landscape architect. He was a con artist, a serial adulterer who preyed on vulnerable women. He had a history of seducing married women, draining their bank accounts, and then disappearing without a trace. I couldn't believe it. Corinne had been duped, manipulated by a master of deception. But that didn't excuse her actions. She had still made the choice to betray me, to break our vows, to destroy our marriage. I confronted Corinne with the information about Julian. She was devastated, heartbroken to learn that she had been so easily manipulated. "I was so stupid," she sobbed. "I thought he loved me. I thought he was my soulmate." I felt a flicker of sympathy for her, but it quickly faded. She had made her bed, and now she had to lie in it. "I'm filing for divorce," I said, my voice cold and resolute. "I can't forgive you, Corinne. I can't trust you ever again." The divorce was messy and painful. We fought over assets, property, and the few remaining shreds of our dignity. But I was determined to move on with my life, to rebuild what Corinne had destroyed. As I was packing up Corinne's things, I found an old photo album. It was filled with pictures of us from our early years together, our wedding day, our honeymoon in Italy, our first Christmas in our new home. Looking at those photos, I was reminded of the love we had once shared, the dreams we had once held. A wave of sadness washed over me. I realized that I wasn't just losing a wife. I was losing a part of myself, a chapter of my life that would never be the same. But I also knew that I couldn't dwell on the past. I had to focus on the future, on creating a new life for myself, one filled with honesty, integrity, and genuine love. I moved into a small apartment downtown, a fresh start in a new environment. I threw myself into my work, designing buildings that were both beautiful and functional. I reconnected with old friends, took up new hobbies, and started to explore the city. One evening, I was at an art gallery opening when I met a woman named Maeve. She was a talented painter, with a vibrant personality and a contagious laugh. We struck up a conversation, and I found myself drawn to her warmth and intelligence. Maeve had been through her own share of heartbreak. She had been divorced several years earlier after discovering that her husband had been having an affair with his secretary. She understood the pain of betrayal, the struggle to rebuild, and the importance of self-love. We started dating, slowly and cautiously. I was still scarred from my experience with Corinne, and I was afraid of getting hurt again. But Maeve was patient and understanding. She showed me that it was possible to love again, to trust again, and to find happiness after heartbreak. One day, I received a letter from Corinne. She was living in a small town in Oregon, working as a waitress. She had lost everything: her career, her friends, and her reputation. Julian had disappeared, leaving her with nothing but debt and regret. In her letter, Corinne apologized for her actions. She admitted that she had made a terrible mistake, and she begged for my forgiveness. "I know I don't deserve it," she wrote, "but I hope that one day you can find it in your heart to forgive me." I read her letter with mixed emotions. Part of me wanted to hold on to my anger, to make her suffer for what she had done. But another part of me felt a pang of compassion for her. She had been through a lot, and she was clearly remorseful for her actions. I realized that holding onto my anger was only hurting me. It was time to let go, to forgive, and to move on with my life. I wrote Corinne a short letter telling her that I forgave her. I wished her well, and I told her that I hoped she could find happiness in her new life. It wasn't easy, but I knew it was the right thing to do. Forgiveness is not about condoning someone's actions. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. It's about choosing to heal, to grow, and to move forward with grace and compassion. I am now happily married to Maeve. We have built a beautiful life together, filled with love, laughter, and mutual respect. I have learned that betrayal can be a devastating experience, but it can also be an opportunity for growth and transformation. It can teach you about your own strength, resilience, and capacity for love. And it can show you that even after the darkest of storms, the sun will eventually shine again.